Today, we are going to go over the $1 million match between Nicky Rod vs Felipe Andrew at CJI 1. In the first minute of the match, Felipe pulls guard, and Nicky is working from top position to try to pass the guard. Close to the 4-minute mark, we see that Nicky is able to get both ankle grips on Felipe, and he's able to execute a beautiful Toriano pass, which allows him to crowd the hips and also get past the legs of Felipe. Instead of accepting bottom side control, Felipe is able to get to his side and works to get to the turtle position. And from here, he tries to initiate a scramble by going for a Granby roll, but Nicky is able to still follow him because he still has control over his hip area. While Nicky is trying to settle into side control from a leg drag position, notice how Felipe is able to grab this outside hook with his ankle. And that's very important because Felipe is trying to work himself back up to his feet, and that denies Nicky from advancing into back control. And as soon as both athletes are able to get back to their feet, Felipe goes for a wrestling switch and Nicky is able to narrowly avoid it and continues going for the double leg, and he's able to eventually get Felipe back down to the mat. Felipe's switch attempt was very good, but he wasn't able to get the grip on Nicky's left thigh to be able to pull himself towards the back. Here's a short clip of what a wrestling switch should look like.
Replace the hand, elbow back, knee to the ceiling, boom, I hit, knock him off balance, a little switch of the hips, there's my switch right there. A lot of times from here, I can catch and I can maybe just circle and get right on top. Maybe it's gonna turn into a leg attack and a finish. There's gonna be some wrestling that's gonna be involved. It's not just gonna work like magic. I'm gonna knock him off balance, attack the leg, and he can give me a lot of different reactions based on what happens. So boom, here, okay, yeah, see now we're wrestling. Now we're wrestling here, and a lot of things can happen. The way I look at it is, it's probably gonna be somewhat of a scramble.
Now the reason that Nicky was able to avoid the switch is because while Felipe is reaching back for his thigh, Nicky was very quick to react and he performs a hip switch, and that prevents Felipe from getting a good grip on his leg. But Felipe also recognizes that there's nothing stopping him from turning his hips towards Nicky, and he's able to face him. But Felipe's one mistake is that his weight is a little bit too far forward, and that allows Nicky to be able to go under the hips while he has pretty good posture at this point, and that allows him to transition into the double leg, cut the corner, and then finish the takedown. From here, Felipe is able to get Nicky into his closed guard, and to get out of closed guard, Nicky starts standing up. Felipe reacts by going under Nicky's right leg, grabbing a grip, and from here it looks like he was planning on transitioning into K guard. Now something that I want to note that's very smart from Nicky Rod is that he already has his left hand grip on Felipe's right ankle. So while Felipe is trying to transition into K guard, notice how his right leg can't go over Nicky's hips, which completely nullifies any chance to get into K guard. And because Nicky was able to put his weight down, now Felipe's hips are flat onto the mat. So overall, it was just very good defense by Nicky in this situation. Nicky's goal in this situation is trying to get Felipe's legs out of the way so he can settle into north-south position and pass the guard. Nicky tries dropping his weight, but as he does, Felipe is able to slightly get to his side, which is very important in this situation because that allows him to be able to establish one frame on Nicky's hip and then one frame on Nicky's right shoulder. Those frames are very important for him because it creates space to allow his knees to get in between himself and Nicky, and from there he's able to recover his open guard again. So very good passing attempts by Nicky and very good guard recovery from Felipe so far. Something that I really don't like in this situation is that Felipe is allowing Nicky to have both grips on his ankles again. In my opinion, this gives Nicky way too much control. He is slowly transitioning to make sure that Felipe's right leg is being flattened towards the mat right now. And while Felipe is trying to get his hips to face towards Nicky again, notice how Nicky is able to crowd the hips and also drop his left elbow past the knee shield at this point. I think every competitor at this point knows that Nicky Rod is very good at the body lock pass, and having Nicky pass your knee shield is a great way for him to start setting up that pass. Looking at this particular frame here, it looks like that Felipe is doing everything he needs to do to try to stop the body lock pass. He's trying to use his upper body frames to push Nicky away, and also his left knee is facing upwards, and that's going to make it more difficult for Nicky to pass that leg. Nicky attempts to try to get his right leg over Felipe's left leg, and because Felipe has that left knee pointing up, he isn't able to just yet. But now I feel like Felipe is making a mistake here. Because Nicky was pretty close to getting his leg over, notice how Felipe stops working the upper body frames, and it looks like he's going to try to stop Nicky's knee from going over his own knees by using his hands to do that. But now that he's now pushing Nicky away from him with his upper body, that allows Nicky to be able to settle down better with his upper body base, and that gives him the positioning he needs to be able to lift his legs a little bit higher to be able to clear Felipe's left knee even though it's facing upwards. And that allows Nicky to perform a hybrid body lock pass with a hip switch, and he's able to pass into side control. And just like before, Felipe doesn't want to accept bottom side control, so he gets to his side and he has this frame with his left elbow that prevents Nicky from getting in a very good position to start attacking the back. And after a little bit of struggling, Felipe is able to get back into a turtle position, and he's trying to recover his guard somehow from here. Now in this frame here, Felipe has his right hand posted to the mat, he has his head down, and it looks like he has his left arm in between his own legs. This positioning indicates that he's probably going to try to roll to either go for a scramble situation or possibly go for a leg lock as well. But instead of allowing Felipe to initiate this, Nicky is the one that jumps towards the back, forcing the roll, and that does two things. It allows him to avoid any sort of leg lock situation, and it also allows him to start attacking the back as well. So from here, Nicky is able to get that first hook in, which transitions into a body lock, and he initially starts with double underhooks from the back. And that gives Felipe a false sense of security, because when your opponent has double underhooks from the back, it's actually impossible for him to start attacking submissions with double underhooks. So notice how Felipe has his elbows flared out. So his body language tells me that he doesn't feel like he's in a lot of trouble right now. However, that changes very quickly. So notice how Nicky's right arm isn't just a lazy underhook. He has a very tight grip on Felipe's right shoulder. Notice how he has his body in between his mat and Felipe, so Felipe isn't able to get his shoulders to the mat in this position. He also has good head positioning as well. Now Nicky uses his left arm to transition from the underhook to the overhook to start attacking the rear naked choke through this little hole here by Felipe's left bicep. Felipe's right hand, which is supposed to be defending the choke, is denied by Nicky's right hand while the choke is going in. And because all of this was practically done in one motion, Nicky was able to get under the chin pretty easily. He's able to lock his arms up, and he's able to finish the rear naked choke from here. So once again from the replay, we start with double underhooks. While Nicky is trying to go for the choke with his left arm, he is able to deny Felipe's right defending hand and pushes that down. That allows him to easily get under the chin, lock up the rear naked choke, and become the first grappler in history to win $1 million from a jiu-jitsu tournament. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown, and I will see you in the next video.